everybody, to my colleagues and friends in Romania in this very special balneological event. It is my pleasure to join you today, even if it is online, with Mine Karagülle, and we greet you from Istanbul. The topic that I'm going to talk with you today is a kind of new conception regarding the balneotherapy applications, especially with H2S water. Why this is important, or why hydrogen sulfide is an important balneological item? Gas for many years, but last decades, it has been very well established that it is one of the fundamental biologically relevant gases that along with nitric oxide and carbon monoxide. And it plays many physiological and also some pathological conditions role. And the key domains of action of H2S, to put it simple, is mainly on redox regulation and then mitochondrial function and inflammatory stinging and cytoprotection and also antioxidation. So, to describe the role of H2S is a topic that we are focusing on because we are all witnessing that balneology is regaining scientific attention and interest, especially with this beneficial effects of chronic inflammatory, rheumatological, dermatological, respiratory, metabolic, and many other disorders, conditions. And in balneology, we urgently need our field to align with modern molecular medicine and system biology. And the hydrogen sulfide itself offers a plausible factor which is playing important role in mechanism linking our thermal treatments to redox and inflammation regulation. So we should define balneology in modern biomedical terms. So we have to go beyond experimental therapy. Balneological interventions, in fact, extend far beyond simple thermal relaxation or experiential effects, with beneficial effects. We can rate them as structured environmental exposures. They represent complex interventions combining the mineral composition, temperature, thermal effect, hydrostatic pressure and factors, and other physical factors, and in H2S case, gas or aerosol contact. So the paradigm shift should be focused on reframing these aspects and create a vital bridge between traditional thermal medicine and modern system biology. So here we propose a conceptual shift from so-called sulfurous balneological therapies as a multimodal H2S delivery system. And in that sense, the main three balneological interventions, bathing, inhalation, and drinking, all together play the main role, central role environment or H2S donor system. During bathing, skin contact with sulfurous mineral water leads to transdermal absorption of H2S during the treatment, and volatile H2S gas and sulfurous water aerosols also during inhalation get in contact and interface with, in this case, respiratory mucosa. And thirdly, gastrointestinal exposure in so-called Traian-Virgiliu in Romania, or it is also called as a drinking cure. In that setting, uptake of H2S happens during drinking cure. So these three delivery systems or ways are to be considered together when concepting the modern balneological treatment concept. So it is okay, bathing, inhalation, and drinking, but we should make the systemic anatomical way of effects should be taken together. Just then, attention here is we still need clinical evidence regarding the complex, comprehensive effects of such multimodal balneological intervention. So, we have exposure routes or delivery ways which plays the main role, leading to mitochondrial oxidation and then redox modulation, and at the end, as we have been experiencing for 1,000 years, therapeutic effect, clinical positive effect. And we should go down to the molecular level, to the mitochondrial function, and then anti-oxidative and anti-inflammatory effect. And in that sense, sulfide, quinine, oxidoreductase pathway, which is a central explanation of the mitochondrial function enhancement. And regarding the antioxidative way, and H2S affects the NRF2 signaling, enhancing this signal, and this leads to a better oxidation, antioxidation effect. And regarding the anti-inflammatory effect, the translational factor NF-kappa B plays a role, and H2S exposure causes inhibition of the expression of this factor, and then this leads to anti-inflammation. So the main three effects of H2S, anti-inflammation, anti-oxidation, and phytoprotective effects, are being explained in this through this mechanism in the central mechanism model. So to make it more simple, it is not so simple as described in these figures, but it starts with the balneological treatment exposures, and then H2S and to some extent SH penetrates or goes through the organ in different ways, and we hypothesize that in this way systemic sulfide here. We need more robust studies to explore in details and also to explore the best effective modalities in different conditions and also in different balneological water composition. Regarding the mitochondrial redox biology, it has many functions. In fact, mitochondria are the, we can say, end director of energy production, LOS production, anti-oxidative defense system. So, regarding mitochondrial sulfide handling, in that sense, sulfide acts as an active participant in cellular bioenergy. It is an important factor in regulation oxidation pathways, redox and electron transfer, and dose-dependent adaptation. Mechanistic emphasis in the literature centers primarily on the redox sensitive signaling. Relevant aspects include enhancement of antioxidant defenses and attenuation of pro-inflammatory activity, and this framework aligns perfectly with the anti-inflammatory clinical effects observed in sulfur-rich acidic. And in fact, we have some, not much, but we have clinical evidence, clinical published studies supporting this redox signaling and inflammation and its H2S relation and effects on this function. Just at that moment, different aspects of H2S balneological effects depends on not a linear effect concept. Contrary, we are all familiar with this term. Hormesis is the explanation of the clinical effects we have been observing in H2S balneotherapeutic application. And it goes like this. In small doses, we have some positive effects, beneficial effects, and in high doses, we have some negative effects or toxic effects or unwanted effects. And between the small dose and high dose, as we call an adaptive range, where you can explain the similar effect of a concentration of 1 milligram per liter of H2S up to 50 milligram per liter of H2S. So, in this graphic, we have insufficient signaling deficiency in the right part of this graphic, and then we have a hormetic adaptive signaling range, as it is called hormetic zone, and then we have the toxic level of the acid. So, depending on these mechanisms, at the end, we have some critical findings relevance, and this can be put mainly in 4 domains, disease domains. I think we are all familiar with the first line, rheumatic conditions, and then dermatological conditions, respiratory conditions, and metabolic and inflammatory conditions. But in fact, these domains can be more depending on the future research results. But we have some current limitations regarding these issues. The main is, I think we all agree, hydrochemical heterogeneity of the balneological agents or balneological resources. Regarding the H2S, we have a high range of H2S levels in different regions in the world, and have been subjected to the research, giving some interesting results and supporting these concepts that I am trying to explain. The treatment regimens differ, sometimes very widely, depending on the country, depending on the spiritual, depending on the tradition, depending on the experience, and so on. So there is a huge exposure quantification gap that we have to overcome in the future in modern balneology. And a more specific issue is we have limited integration of the sulfur spices that being bioactive components of such sulfur balneological treatment. And in fact, regarding the study design constraints and limits and problems, I think this is the domain that we are most familiar with. So these are the obstacles we have to overcome in the near future when developing a modern balneology as a well-established scientific medical field. So, leading to precision balneology, we have, as I put here, some steps to go forward. We have to have hydrochemical standardization, exposure pharmacokinetics, biomarker-guided trials, and patient satisfaction. When we plan in future in balneology, we should take into account these aspects. So advancing sulfurous balneotherapy from empirical tradition to evidence-based environment therapeutics. In this presentation, in this lecture, I wanted to share my thoughts with you. And our future from empirical tradition of spa therapy to mechanistically informed environmental therapeutics, I should propose the translational perspective. And depending on hydrogen sulfide balneology, it provides us a mechanistically credible bridge between multimodal sulfurous exposure and clinically relevant anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and cytoprotective paths. And this framework reframes balneotherapy as a systems-level environmental intervention with testable pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics properties. The translational imperative is that standardized exposure quantification, development of biomarker protocols, and leading or walking through advanced precision.
Now I will ask Professor Olga Surdu to have her presentation.
A little bit different. I enjoyed the previous presentation, and I want to tell you that it is important to connect all this huge quantity of scientific paperwork we have to share on the WHO organization and to be connected with their requirements. Hydrotherapy and balneotherapy encompass a group of therapeutic intervention using tap water and mineral natural water, gas, meloid, and other related eco-environmental resources. Despite their long-standing clinical application and growing evidence-based resources, no international agreement have been established for this type of therapy. Hydrotherapy and balneotherapy remain insufficiently represented within the World Health Organization global strategy on traditional complementary and integrative medicine for the next 10 years, and this gap limits the integration into international health policies and classification systems. The vision is to propose a conceptual and methodological framework for the development of an international accepted definition of hydrotherapy and balneotherapy in line with the requirements of the WHO requirements and classification. Integrate balneotherapy, hydrotherapy, balneotherapy into global health system and facilitate international comparability. We need to make hydrotherapy and balneotherapy onto the WHO family of international classification that for us include international classification of health intervention. This is the main topic because we do not work with this type of classification. International classification of disease is known by all the medical doctors and reviewers, and also international formed using three elements, three pillars: target, action, mix. Targets refer to body function and system, musculoskeletal, skin, circulatory, nervous system. Actions show us the type of therapy: exposure, immersion, stimulation. And the means is the natural therapeutic factor itself. The classification of international disease show what condition is treated and determine the medical indication. It's important to say and to understand that balneotherapy is not a disease. And you may ask me and ask yourself what the connection is between the disease and balneotherapy. Balneotherapy is a treatment modality that links the diagnosis in this classification with our procedure. So we have codes for musculoskeletal disorder, for chronic pain, for dermatological condition, and so on. And the classification of functioning refers to outcomes we intend to achieve and describes the functional impact of our treatment. So, in other terms, define the functional results. Body function, space, joint mobility, muscle strength, activities, walking, movement, daily functioning, participation, to quality of refer to quality of life, and environmental factors as climate and gas sectors at the disposal of the person. So what means this integration? The international classification of health intervention refer to intervention itself, bath therapy, mineral bathing, or others. International classification of disease show us the condition, and the classification of functioning underline the outcomes that we have after this application. This approach, that mixed combined approach, offers us the possibility to provide to the WHO a standardized, compatible framework, a clear classification of all balneotherapy modalities, and alignment with clinical indications and outcomes, and in this way offer a solid basis for treatment. Health policy implementation, as we do not exist. The result of this approach will be a clear categories of tap water and mineral water, spheroid, and other type of natural factor, a direct mapping with international classification of disease through indication for classification of functional domains. So we can achieve a structure suitable for international consensus document for clinical trials, the data registration, and policy integration. In this way, facilitating recognition within the health system and supporting evidence-based public health policy. Definition exists in every country. We have our own definition, and the core of the definition is the same. Only the words are different. And there is not globally accepted. This proposed approach is consistent with the WHO classification, technical classification of activities and provide a foundation for an official international consensus on definition and classification of hydrotherapy and balneotherapy. And you know, I dare to ask you to put yourself for 5 minutes into the shoes of a WHO bureaucrat, a person who works in this international organization and must to understand what we are telling them in different words. This is why it's important to define and to have a classification, a coordinated, collaborative process involving scientific society, academic institutions, and WHO stakeholders is essential to ensure the consistency, credibility, and sustainability in advising hydrotherapy and balneotherapy within global health system. I asked technicians to make a little changement in the program of presentation because I have to be connected to a WHO meeting. It's about the new architecture of the health system, of the global health system. We do not exist as the intervention in the working plan for the next 10 years, but we have to try to penetrate this gap, to pass over this gap through a via communication with the WHO.
Quantity of artificial gas. And for that, I have need to respect and study to take Suceveanu water. But to take gas are wonderful properties for the stomach. Gas anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effect clearing from the damage from the stomach, and more than we have the, I say it always because I don't like to say any name. I say the Romanian team published a lot of identified water intake and have reduction in blood flow of glucose and the reduction of the oxygen metabolism. This antioxidant for all our body improve quality of life and have a relation in the endothelial reticular stress in diabetes related disease. This is and the Romanian team said to us, we had a pleasure to have a publication who invited us, Normal and me, are an article around identifying alcohol. I'm not saying that. I said again, the Romanian team have one publication about the influence of identify and the neurological problem. global certified mechanism of the world. And now we have figured that the pain of the doses as especially elimination of identify in our body has capacity and inflammatory and stress and especially to the pain. I have known on black cat people who have normal all this life have melanoma. I'm free, unfortunately. And those times, 3 4 years ago, we was invited by friend Sunday jockeys and all the people go to the swimming pool of the jacuzzi, and me I prefer to stay in that room because I have found out about the influence of identified and that. But now we have clear, we have a real attitude on saying that the identified by the sulfide mechanism transform the stimulate the cell cancels to go to apoptosis. And for that, when I would go now, the International Congress of PMA in Tecuya Cancer, I will go to the back. Finally, in Mesis, we are working on that Turkish team, Spanish team, and Turkey, we are working. One is the doses, like Spain, perfect. It's not the same nanomoles of 125, micromoles, micromoles, merely. And only a question, when you put it in a swimming pool with sulfur water, here we have a figure, graph, and we have the time and the identified positions. At the beginning, the tension is very high, and that will go very quickly to our body, but less and less it goes down, and the end is mean. It is the opposite than we put it at the beginning is less. We have water, but at the end there is deliberation. Once in time is more progress. We have here a sun graphic that demonstrated that the solution is fast, but cannot is progress. We need to study this mechanism because this is vital from the therapeutic knowledge. This intervention is a summary than this article who published with our friend Constantin Munteanu in 2025, and you can read that link in there. The moment is true. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Vă mulțumesc foarte mult. I see you write it in Romanian, so I wanted to thank you also in Romanian. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was wonderful and very close by my interest in hydrogen sulfide, you know very well. So it was an enjoyable presentation for me. Now, because of the technical issues, we are in the short delay. So I will ask our friend from Japan. Yes, please. Yes. Unfortunately, I cannot hear Professor Maravel. Just a moment, I will try to introduce. Just a moment. I have, yeah, and now I see. I allow him to talk. Only just a moment to give. Yes, yes, perfectly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Francisco Maraver. We are very, yeah, yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, yeah, we are good friends, so we meet together. Sooner we will go to Serbia and yeah, now we will introduce Hitomi Kanayama from Japan. So our colleague from Japan is the floor is yours. Please start your presentation. Thank you so much. We will soon meet together in Serbia, so we will have some time to speak together. I know that we are eager to see each other, but only 2 weeks and we'll be in Serbia and meet together. Yeah. So Professor Hitomi Kanayama from Japan will have the next presentation entitled Climatotherapy in the era of climate change, emerging public health challenges and future research in the directions in Japan. So the floor is yours. You can share the screen, please. Hello, we can hear you. Perfect. Perfect. We have sound. We can see the presentation. So everything is okay. You can start. Thank you.
Presentation slide is okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. We can see you. Yeah.
This is Diana from Japan. Thank you for inviting me to this international organization. I shall now give my presentation. There is no OI. Japan's annual average temperature has risen significantly with an increase of 1.40 Celsius degree per century since 1898. As temperatures rise, the number of days classified as hot days, extremely hot days, and tropical nights has increased significantly, while the number of winter days The number of extreme hot days is also on the rise as a long-term trend, and this has been particularly noticeable since the late 1990s. The number of tropical nuts is also on the rise, a long-term trend. Since the Japan Meteorological Agency began its observations, the annual average temperature has increased by the following months: plus 0.18 Celsius degree in Kaido. This one. Kaido, and plus 0.15 Celsius degree in Tok region, plus 0.24 Celsius degree in Kuto and Kosin, including Tokyo, and 0.21 Celsius degree in Hokuriku region, including Fukui, and plus 0.25 degree in Tokai region, and 0.3 in Kinchi region, including Osaka, and plus 0.21 in Chugo region, here, 0.19 in Kyushu region, red and green region, and 0.8 in Okinawa. One way to cope with outdoor activities on hot day, I recommended others. I asked study group session, try early baths, even days after immersion in cold water. Steam temperature remained approximately 2 degrees lower than before immersion. For activities in the hot season, grass using cold or ice water is a simple and refreshing option. Spa results in 2025. Case 1. Semi-spa resort in Iwate Prefecture in Tohoku region. Date is 16 October 2025. In the Tohoku region, there were numerous bear sightings, and an employee who had been clearing the old airbus was dragged off by a bear. The enslaved, his badly mutilated body was found in a nearby forest. Case 2 at Nozawa Spa. This is a famous resort that attracts many tourists. An elderly self-employed man living nearby was attacked by a bear while clearing snow from the road, suffering serious injuries to his face and leg. This site provides information on sightings of Asian black bears in Fukui Prefecture, as well as species such as droppings and claw marks and human injuries. In 2025, there were numerous sightings of Asian black bears across various parts of Honshu, including Fukui Prefecture. In the 2025 financial year, there were 573 bear sightings, 183 bear races, and 3 human injuries in Fukui Prefecture. According to preliminary data from the Ministry of Environment, there were 50,000 2026, resulting in 238 injuries and still deaths. Record high annual rare sightings in Hokuriku region, Toyama, Ishikawa, and Fukuoka from 2021-2025 is shown in this table. The total number of sightings in Hokuriku region has been rising since 2023, reaching a peak of 2,387 in 2025. This bar chart shows the locations of human injuries caused by Asian black bear across Japan between May and December 2025, from April to June. Here, the highest area was forest end, yellow bar. The proportion in residential area is highest in autumn. In December, 67% of incidents occurred in urban area and 33% in residential area, indicating that the bears are concentrated in populated areas in December. Article. Bear warning, preventing encounters using temporal, environmental, and demographic features. In response to the large number of bear sightings in Japan, research using machine learning was conducted at Sophia University. This study by Nakamoto and Fukazawa proposes a machine learning approach to predict bear encounters using temporal features, environmental features, and demographic features. Based on this research, bear encounter AI prediction map is available free of charge. Version link here. This is their encounter AI prediction map English version link. The here on the left shows their counter AI prediction map in screen prefecture. The right but to balneotherapy specialists and 2 balneotherapists, 1 physiotherapist, and 1 occupational nurse. Here is a flyer and a curriculum for the 2025 training course. This is a flyer in Japanese language, and the on-site practical training took place on the many natural risks. Due to climate change, the frequency and severity of these disasters have increased in recent years. My future plan combine my experience in climatotherapy research with my expertise as meteorological disaster prevention advisor. I am planning an initiative that combines workshops to teach local residents how to make proper use of weather information, identify areas at risk of weather-related disasters in their region, and understand evacuation procedures with climatotherapy sessions designed to improve their health.
Thank you very much for your very nice presentation and interesting information. Now I see some similarities between Japan and Romania regarding the beers. We have the same problem here in Romania. So thank you so much. Now I will have a last presentation because of the time from Dr.